it started off by seeing how they influenced each other, and the impact that they had on each other during that time, how they pushed each other to do things that weren't always normal, how they pushed each other through the media to strive for something better. That was our gateway into the story. That was our way in. And from there, we just expanded it to go beyond the iconic moments and to find out who they were and what motivated them as people. And that gave us the rich, complex storylines that we were hoping to bring to the screen.
That was the scary part. I was like, am I capable of doing this? Do I have what it takes? What do I have to offer? And one of the things that the producers and showrunners offered me when I met with them on Zoom before I said yes to the job was, they said, Kelvin, this imposter syndrome that you think you have as a performer and not being able to portray Dr. King is exactly what Dr. King was feeling when he first stepped into these shoes. And he was first named president of the SCLC, So I kind of used that and I allowed the calling to just guide me and trust it. And here we are.
For me, it was critical to be guided by his autobiography, to be guided by the footage that is preserved that we have of him. I was guided by that, and that was pretty much the entire journey, to be guided by him. What felt right, I trusted that it was right.
I think one of the things that we set out to do early on was to get as much information as we possibly could. So before we even put pen to paper, we had an exhaustive think tank of scholars, historians who were very familiar with the world of both, Martin and Malcolm. And so getting that information allowed us to find these soft spots of information that you didn't know about Martin and Malcolm. And so that allowed us to kind of not necessarily rely so much on the iconic moments that we know, but live into the moments of, say, Malcolm as a father, Martin as a father, the key moments of, Martin on the first date with Coretta, how does that look? The courtship between, Malcolm and Betty. So those moments were things that, once we got the information, we were like, okay, we got to hit that, to give it a really kind of different texture of the show.
I mean, the most important thing was the research and information that I had prior to beginning filming. But I think beyond that point, having the glasses, having the particular watch, having the particular rings. I stayed in accent for the entire 6 months. I walked the way he walked. I exercised the gestures that he had. So those are things that helped me to, find my way into Malcolm before action ran.
It would kind of be phrases that I thought really resonated with him. In what I thought maybe it was quotes that he said or quotes from philosophers that he loved, and then I would do it in the voice, and I think it would kind of drop me in. And then a big hearty laugh, because I was like, this man is filled with so much joy, and that was the thing that kind of really propelled him through it all. And that was the morning routine.
Denzel is a hero of mine. I look up to him with a great admiration and respect. So it was a privilege to be able to follow in his footsteps in portraying this tremendous individual.
One of the reasons why I also said yes, because Aaron was a part of the show, and he had signed on first, and I was like, he's such an incredible actor. And but we had a conversation the day before we started shooting, and we just talked about how do we protect each other, how do we hold and make space for each other during this time so that we can come in with the best of ourselves to portray and give to these incredible men.
We see this show as having four leads. The two, Malcolm and Martin are baseline, but Betty and Coretta are, if not more important, equally important to both of them. And this series could not have been done without showcasing who they were and their impact in full as much as we could. So that was the main focus, to your point, of bringing them out of the supportive role but into the collaborative role.
Because I don't think that the women, Betty Shabazz and Coretta Scott King, have been given enough kudos for their contribution to what they've done for the causes that their husbands were involved in. And I think this is the first time, for me, definitely, that I got to actually know more about them. I didn't know the input they had. I didn't know that, Coretta, being so passionate about the wars, she influenced Martin's decision to go against the Vietnam War. And, little things like that, especially with Black people voting for Kennedy, because it was like almost 70% of the Black population voted for Kennedy, and that was based off his endorsement of Martin Luther King, which was again triggered by Coretta. So a lot of people don't actually know, or I'll speak for myself, I knew nothing about how much she had to do with it. So I think this is a wonderful way to dig into that and to show that, without these women, I don't think these men would have done the great things they did in our world.